Hello everyone, today's video is from the Vampire Diaries, in particular, a focus on the Heretics. Now, it's not exactly common for witches to become vampires, and that's pretty much down to one reason. Nature has deemed witches to be their servants, and considers vampires to be abominations of nature. So that means witches cannot retain their magic as a result of their immortality should they transition into a vampire. Now, the thing is, it's not exactly straightforward every time witches are born into covens. It's not just black and white, there can be a lot of grey, and by that I mean abnormalities. Take Silas for example, a man born with such an incredible psychic gift that it allowed him to create illusions so real that he could even convince people they were dying, or he could even compel hundreds of people without even making eye contact with any of them. This could be a generational hereditary power. However, the Gemini coven's situation is the example I'll be following today, as they played a key role in the development of the Heretics. Now, not only had they their own tradition of the generational mergence of the coven twins, which seen one of them die, but they also had a breed of witch known as a siphon. Now, siphons were unable to channel magic naturally. They could only do so by draining it from a supernatural source, although it was always just temporary power. 6 witches were born into the Gemini ranks, 6 individuals that were considered siphons, and despite their unusual abilities, the coven denounced them, viewing them as abominations, unnatural beings, and undeserving of a place in the coven. The 6 were exiled and without power or support, left America for Europe, where they encountered the Ripper vampire Lily Salvatore, who pitied their situation. Lily, who was also searching for a sense of self-purpose, developed a strong bond and became somewhat of a motherly figure to the 6 heretics. She transformed them all into vampires, which in turn provided a solution to the obstacle of them being unable to naturally channel magic. As vampires are supernatural beings, the now witch-vampire hybrids could siphon the magic from themselves, which provided them with an endless source of magic. They could not only siphon magic from themselves for power, but could also siphon out bad or harmful magic, most notably werewolf venom, which is highly toxic to vampires, therefore providing an alternate solution to Klaus Michelson's blood cure. As nature's laws did not account the possibility of a siphoned witch becoming a vampire, the heretics were not subject to any consequences for their magic, not even from the other side. They became immensely powerful and near unstoppable. Together with Lily Salvatore, they formed a very tight and secure family, devoted to protecting one another at all costs. Determined to exact revenge for their ill treatment by the Gemini coven, the Heretics and Lily returned to North America to confront them. However, the coven expected their attack and upon meeting them at New York Harbor, entrapped them in a prison world. The prison world was an exact copy of October 31st, 1903. It was exactly like the real world, but no humans or beings of any kind were placed in the temporal loop. The only blood available was animal blood from butcher shops, which were few and far between. Now, as the blood dried up, the heretics, in support of Lily, refused to drink any more blood, wanting their share to go to her in order to help control her bloodlust. Lily limited herself to just 2 drops of blood a day in order to preserve the rest for the day that she and the heretics might escape the prison world. The 6 witch vampire hybrids painfully defecated to the point of appearing as living statues. Lily was eventually freed from the prison world first, but engineered her family's release through negotiating a deal with Kai Parker. Let's take a look at the character profiles of the 6 heretics in order to have an even better understanding of who they were as people. So first up we have Malcolm. Now Malcolm is probably the least well known of the group because there's not too much information on his past, but he actually played a key role in bringing the heretics together after they had been separated. For example, he reunited Beau and Valerie after a 10-year absence from each other's lives. He saved Nora from being killed by her family, he took Mary Louise off the street and convinced her to meet Lily, he was incredibly loyal to the family, he was incredibly loyal to Lily. Malcolm was very arrogant also, and devoutly loyal, to the point that his arrogance got him killed by Bonnie and Damon when he tried to drain Bonnie of her magic. His death devastated Lily as he was her favourite. Next up we have Oscar. Now, Oscar was also very loyal to Lily at the beginning, and for many years afterwards. It was actually he who visited Damon and convinced the latter not to go to war, which actually saved his life, as Damon's regiment was slaughtered. He was kind, laid back, and did not enjoy killing or harming people, only doing so to sustain himself. He grew tired of Lily's leadership over the family of Heretics and greatly desired his freedom, something Lily would not grant him as she didn't want to break up the family. Oscar's loyalty then wavered, and without the others' knowledge she actually found Julian, Lily's lover's body, months ago, hoping to use him as leverage for his freedom. Confessing his plan to Valerie, she reluctantly kills him as she knows what Julian is capable of. Valerie is up next, and she had quite a sad beginning with her life as a heretic, and that man Julian once again had something to do with it. Valerie encountered Stefan Salvatore, Lily's son, while they were both humans. They quickly fell in love, and Valerie fell pregnant with Stefan's child. Knowing that she planned on leaving the family to raise her child, Julian's hidden persona came to surface and he beat Valerie close to death, causing her to miscarry the baby. Healed by Lily's blood, she never told her what happened and committed suicide out of devastation. She became the first witch-vampire hybrid. She was incredibly powerful but equally as knowledgeable, knowing dozens of spells used by the Gemini coven, which she used effectively. She cast a long-lasting spell on Caroline, for example, that ensured that her skin burned anyone who touched her. She also cast pain infliction spells strong enough to hold down vampires as old as Julian with little difficulty. She displayed talent in an array of different skills and was extremely valuable to the Heretics family. Mary Louise and Nora are my two favourite members of the Heretics family. They're so close, it's like they come together as a package, so I thought it was only fitting to talk about them as a unit because that's basically what they were. Their love for each other was that strong. Many of you will already be aware that Nora and Mary Louise were in a relationship which, at the time of their original coming together over 100 years ago, was not acceptable, frowned upon, and heavily discouraged. To be gay in 1903 and before that was to be condemned, and the two women had to conceal their love and affection for each other. It was only when they were released from the prison world and they seen just how much had changed in modern day Mystic Falls, and the rest of the world actually, that they finally had the courage to be together. Despite their love, they were both strongly individualized and they showed stubbornness when they disagreed on certain issues, like just how open they should be about the fact they were gay. Nora adapted exceptionally quick to the current era. Mary Louise, however, remained conservative and reluctant, putting a strain on their relationship. Nora also has a passion for trying new things, which again was counter to Mary Louise's attitude. Nora is also shown to have more of a heart and more of her humanity than her ex-lover, as she is seen going to college with ordinary humans, doing charity for children, and even trying to make friends with some of the Mystic Falls gang, which infuriated Mary Louise. They were both extremely powerful and were quick to use force when they felt threatened in any manner. Although they separated for some time, they only ever truly loved one another, and both sacrificed themselves in order to destroy the Phoenix Sword. Last up, we've got Beau. Now, personally, I think Beau is one of the coolest characters, and that's basically because he's a mute. He's got no dialect, so his actions, movement, and overall presence has to be very powerful in its own right, and that's down to the actor who plays him. Something I didn't actually realise was that the actor Charlie Johnson was replaced in season 7 by actor Jaden Kane. The two men look strikingly similar, and it was a change that a lot of people didn't really notice, but in saying that, it's kinda down to Beau not having a large amount of screen time. Beau was extremely loyal not just to Lily but also every member of the family. He did uphold his morals and did not always agree with Lily and Julian. He was very powerful and a fierce vampire. He was attacked by Huntress Reyna Cruz in 1903, which seen her pierce his throat with the Phoenix Sword, severing his vocal cords and rendering him a mute. Bo was left with an X-shaped scar, which allowed Reyna to track him down at any point. She finished the job over 100 years later when she pierced him with the Phoenix Sword properly, trapping his soul in the stone. With that being said, everyone, that is my video on the origins of the Heretics. Make sure to check out season 6 and 7 of the Vampire Diaries in order to witness the Heretics wreak havoc on Mystic Falls. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see in the comment section below. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button, and more importantly, turn on those notifications. I cannot stress how important they are. And finally, if you have a minute, hit that like button. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.